Good evening, everybody. It's Protect the Bag with Kevin and Javid. I am so thankful that we're here for our 5th episode. This has been an amazing journey. We've had an opportunity to try to bring you guys some really nice information, and hope we've been able to educate you on some topics here over the last 4 episodes. But today is episode number 5. We had some technical difficulties last week, so we were unable to get through with everything, but here we are back ready to get it on. But before I go any further, let me turn it over to my co-host, Brother Kevin. You got anything to say to the people, man?
Hey, man, happy Wednesday to everyone. Hope you guys have had a good week. It's 2 things we can control in this life is, our attitude and our effort, right? So
Yes, sir.
hope you guys have put maximum into both of those with everything that's going on in this world, all this negativity. I hope you guys are leaning into what matters most, which is you, yourself, and your family. So hope everybody's well.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today is a big day. It's episode 5, and we are going to be talking about a topic that is very important in the Black community, and that is the flow of dollars in and out of our community. And I could think of no one better to have on the show to help us bring this discussion to light than the one and only AC Green of the AC Green Show. Those of y'all that know Mr. Green, you know who he is and what he represents. But this man has been running his show here in Chicago since 2008. And in that time, he's been responsible for helping people with just community activism, loan modifications, and just overall amazing entertainment. He is an excellent radio host, an excellent interviewer, and it is my honor and privilege to have this man here today to talk to us about the topic of Black dollars flowing in and out of the community. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. AC Green.
Hello, everybody. How you all doing? Thank you, Javid. Appreciate it.
You are more than welcome, sir. So, as we were saying, we really want to discuss this idea of the Black dollar, the power of it, and how it goes in and out of the community, and what is our position right now in the country. So let's just kind of kick open the conversation with that, talking about the Black dollar and what our position is in the community.
Okay. Where do you want to start? It's a lot of ground right there.
So Kevin, you have something?
I didn't do a whole lot of research, other than, we experience this every day, of seeing us having this tremendous buying power, but we don't have a lot of, assets really. So one thing that really stuck out to me, and I'll let him, pivot from this, but according to the Federal Reserve, the median white household income is about $285,000, yet the median wealth for Black families is around $44,900. So that it goes on to say it's high spending with low wealth building assets such as homes, businesses, manufacturing, industry, retirement. It actually, as they say, points to economic vulnerability, and they call it economic apartheid. So, right there is we have this high spending amount, even though, our median income, but we don't have the assets. And I think that's a lot can tie into the Black dollar and the businesses and things like that. So I'll let, Ms. Green kind of, pivot from that aspect of the conversation.
And that's right, Kevin. Let me ask you this. So this is going to be recorded too, so people will be able to see this
Absolutely
over and over again, because people need to share it and share information, because we're talking to all people, but specifically we're talking to Black people, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All right. So to my brothers and sisters, the bottom line is we don't know enough about how money works in America. And because we don't know enough about how money works in America, we don't have a lot of it. Because if you don't know how it works, how can you work it? If you don't know how the car runs, how can you really drive it forever? At some point, it's going to break down and you are going to be stuck. And that's what we are. So right now, people have less money to spend than ever before. They're living off their credit cards. They're trying to make it, and they're not doing a good job of making it, because they don't realize, most people don't realize, that dollar that you have not even worth that dollar. And so you're spending just a fraction of the dollar when you function with it, just not knowing that alone. But you got a deficit. So you have people right now that where they used to get a haircut every week, they have to get a haircut every month. They have to go get their special coffee, whatever, every other day. They can't get it every day. So slowly but surely, and then what happens is we get frustrated, and then that frustration leads to levels of anger, and then you want to find somebody to blame, and that's not going to do anything to lift you up. And then you're going to be saying the almighty thing: the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep
right.
And that ends up being the balm that soothes your wound, and that doesn't make any sense. It's not going to serve you at all. Today, they lowered the interest rate a quarter point. All right. So some people are going to take that lower interest rate and they're going to go and buy something they cannot afford, because nobody's going to tell them that behind this is going to come some very, very difficult time. Because there's no way that you can lower interest rates and not hurt the dollar. Every time that interest rate is lowered, that means that dollar gets weaker. And if that dollar's getting weaker and it's already weak in your pocket, and it's going to get weaker than that, then you think that the money that you're getting, that you're spending is good to go. No, if you're not doing something with that money, if you go get a loan that is going to be an asset, that means it's a liability. And what is an asset? An asset is like planting an apple tree today and living off the apples forever.
That's rich.
That means every time your kid, every time your daughter, every time your son gets $20, they need to go to the precious metal store and get a gold coin with $20. Because if everything that you're making in income, you're spending out in consumerism, that means you're getting poorer and poorer. And wealth is built not because you are white. Wealth is built not because you're Hispanic, not because you are Indian, not because you're Asian. Wealth is built not because you're black. Wealth is built because you understand asset building. That's how wealth is built. It's built because of you have assets. If you have more liability than assets, you're gonna be poor. It's really simple, and anybody can know these things. And that's why it's important, Javid, that you're having forums like this where people can rehearse these things. They can go to school online. They can hear people talk about things that they're not hearing normally, because you didn't get it in grammar school, you didn't get it in high school.
No.
Most of you didn't get it in college, and guess what? You're not going to be able to use what you don't have. You don't have it. I didn't have it.
Right.
I had to teach myself these things through listening to other people that were doing things and traveling to places and making myself extremely uncomfortable to learn things that I did not know. And I'm passionate about it, because this time is not going to be like any other time. This is going to be
absolutely.
This is going to be different. It's going to be different, more different. Listen, in 3 years, if you see a physical bank building, it'll be like that. It's going to be like an historic monument. Bank buildings are going away. All of the things we understood back in the day. Look at the bank building now. Go on the average bank in the community right now, and it's like nobody's in it.
Yeah, you got to have an appointment.
You got to have an appointment. It's just that few people in the bank. During the pandemic, what happened? The coins went away. Everybody said, "Well, you know what? The coins are in a shortage." No, they stopped making them because they're not going to be using this fiat currency for much longer. And people don't know that. So we have to do a lot of things to make up the ground that we have not lost, but that we never had in terms of information, so that we can be ready for what's going to happen. One great thing about this, you all, 90% of the country, whether they're black or white or other, 90%. Don't understand this time we're in. So we're all even now, y'all. It ain't gonna be no wealth gap now, unless you don't go get information. The Bible says clearly the most significant thing that I can always place my hope in and understanding. The Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." Not because you're not good, not because God doesn't love you and you don't love God. It's because what you don't know, you can't leverage. If you know what's around the corner, you don't get as scared as you get prepared. But when you don't know what's around the corner, you're gonna get scared.
That's an excellent point. That's a good segue for what my next question is for you. So we've heard this story, about the black dollar coming in and out of the community and how it doesn't hang around here long. What, in your opinion, is the reason why our dollar leaves the community faster than other communities? Is it the access to it? Is it our habits? Is it our education? What do you feel is the reason why we get one in one hand and out the other?
It's lack of knowledge. So if you don't know the value of a thing, the true value of it, then you can't appropriate it the right way. You don't know the true value, which is why, you don't let your, 12-year-old drive your Corvette. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know the true value of it. It's not because it's impossible for a 12-year-old to drive a car, but if they don't know the true value of it, they are not going to take care of it, the right way. So I think it's our education system is set up so that we can be workers, almost in an industrial revolution setup when we were in a whole technical environment. We way behind with education, and the fact that we allow our public school systems to miseducate us, like Lauryn Hill said in that song, for so long is really crazy. So here's how you get our people, Black people like us, to really keep the dollar in the community. You show them how to be owners.
Okay.
Owners are going to think different than consumers only. So I did a meet and greet some years ago. They were closing the Carson Peary Scott. Remember that name?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were closing the Carson Peary Scott in the area. So the mayor of the town, not too far, Matson, had asked me to come over there and do a meet and greet, and I did. And a lot of the other politicians, everybody was around. And so I was talking to them afterwards. I said, this is good. And people will come out and they'll get the drinks and the cookies and all those things. I said, but you're not getting the people that you really want. You really want all the people in the neighborhood to come over here. But you know why they're not going to participate and why they're going to keep going all the way across town to go shop? You know what they're going to do? Because they don't have any skin in the game. See, until you allow people to have a skin in a business game, they may not own a Carson Peary Scott or back in the day a Montgomery Ward or today a Pete's Grocery or any place like that. They may not own that, but just owning something will let them know, hey, if this is my economic ecosystem over here, but I'm taking my money over there, it doesn't advantage me. So here's what happens. So you live in a community and you don't have any skin in the game in that community, but you live in that community. You pay taxes in that community. Whatever the tax you pay, whatever type property tax, whatever tax you pay in that community, whatever you do, you pay water bills and all those things. All of those things are in jeopardy of being made to be higher if you don't have an economic base. So one of the things I say all the time, so I can teach people why we need to mitigate crime in areas like Chicago, is because if you don't mitigate the crime, then those businesses that you depend on to go to work every day down in them office buildings downtown, if the crime stays where it is, the businesses are going to leave. Because would you put a business in an area where there's a whole lot of crime? And when the businesses leave, guess who has to take care of the tax burden? The people that live there.
People that live there.
Now your taxes going to be higher. Your resources, all of them going to be higher because you don't have the business infrastructure there. So once you understand the relationship between your dollar and it's circulating in your area, once you understand and feel some of the pain of potentially losing that, you will understand why it's important. Hey, I know I can shop over there, but I got to put my money over here because this is where I live. Now, if I want to live over there, then I can shop over there. But if you want to live over here, you need to shop over here because every dollar you take over there is helping their place, not yours. And that means you get ready to pay higher for living over here because you shopping over there.
So in Chicago, I don't know how it is in Atlanta, but in Chicago, this political machine here is really designed to push the poor people out of their neighborhoods and then gentrify the areas to the point where you'll have a Roseland that was one thing before, and then it's being totally gentrified now. There's so many businesses coming up over there in the Pullman area, and none of them are Black-owned businesses. Not any of them. Not even the Chick-fil-A. It's not a Black-owned business. The owner-operator is not Black-owned. None of that. So it's kind of hard for us to hold on to our property when I think it's intentional that they allow crime to happen in certain areas just to drive the people out and drive the businesses out so they can take over the properties. What do you think about that in the Chicago machine? Do you think that's it's intentional by the government or what?
Yeah, I think it's very intentional. You got, and then there's some other things too. So in Chicago, it's a judicial state. So Kevin, you're in Atlanta.
I am.
All right. So in Atlanta, it is it's not a judicial state. It's a non-judicial state, meaning that you don't pay your mortgage in a certain period of time, they putting you out anyway. In Illinois, you can be behind on a mortgage. That's why the law firm comes in, and you can stay in that house for 2 years if the lawyer keeps moving that case down the line. Big difference.
Okay.
That means if you can't afford to live in certain areas in Georgia, you could be put out very quickly. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to afford to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of squatter situations in Atlanta. For those we have them here too, and they have strong laws in Georgia. But the thing about it is, it's so much different in Atlanta than it is Chicago. But Chicago specifically, when it comes to housing, the dollar, and people's money, crime is without a doubt the big pusher, and it's monetized at a high level. I mean, higher than people even understand. And yes, gentrification is a whole plan. You saw the movie Boys in the Hood back in the day. You remember that scene? That movie? That was interesting. That I think about that all the time now. How he stood out there and he taught them about gentrification in that example. But in our communities, they push crime because it's a way to gentrify. If we understood the value of land and property and how the system sees that. I looked at the situation going on in California. We saw all the things with the Altadena fires and the Palisades fires in California. And just this week, it is not unusual because it happened in Chicago. Right. The governor announced that they're going to build low-income housing on those spots. Now, what they did, they made it impossible for the people who own those $2 million homes to rebuild. You know, they changed the laws, so it's going to cost them millions of dollars to rebuild because they changed the zoning and everything. They got to put this much concrete in and all that. So they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to spend the money to do that. But what they want to do all the time is they wanted to put these high rises on that beautiful waterfront there. But they did that in Chicago. If you go to 39th Street and 31st Street on the lake, remember when them projects right there?
Yep.
They do the same thing. What they do is they at first they call it low income, right? Because they got to get a way to get it in without you getting upset that they getting ready to take your land, right? But now they tore all them places down. You go over in those areas now, you try to get one of those places to live in. It's gonna cost you an arm and leg. No place.
Can't do it. The same thing is happening in Atlanta. I don't mean to cut you off. You know, Atlanta has some of the highest inflation in the nation. You know, we really do, and they're doing the same playbook. We have a thing called the Beltline here, to where they said it's supposed to link Atlanta, all inclusive, but it's just basically gentrified the whole area. You know, like I tell my parents, you know, my home house, you know, my parents have done an amazing job with what they've been able to do. And I just asked them not to sell the home house. I said, you know, God is not making any more land. You know, my grandmother's house is vacant at this time. So those assets of having, like you said, assets of having the ability to you know, use real estate to really build wealth, that's where we're lacking in a lot of ways, because you look at what they did in Chicago and how that's like the Klan city, and how, you know, trying to get these fathers away from mothers and things like that. It's been systematic. It really has been systematic. And I'll just end by saying this. You remember one in the earlier episode, I said that, when America catches the cold, Black folks catch the flu, you know? And so
I just saw a video. What you just said. I just posted a video of Stephen A. saying the exact same thing you just said. Yeah, and that's true. Like Atlanta, where there are some deficits. I know some people that did real estate investment in Atlanta doing incredibly well, but what they planned it.
Yeah.
They saved their money, and they did these things. You know, there's probably no better city in the South to do things in than Atlanta.
Absolutely.
Atlanta,
I'm not going anywhere.
it's just a great town, man. But the thing about it is, what we have to do is we have to stop always thinking so singular, you know, and start thinking more group economics. So maybe as an individual, and we got to go to this because the individual dollar, individual money that people have as an individual, it may be shrinking, but you can get together with others, create an LLC, and you can go to buying property. We gotta get together. We don't have a choice. If we don't get together now and practice group economics, we gonna be done. I mean, it's just no other way. No other group is not doing what I'm saying.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, we have to do it, and we have to do it with the urgency, because in Chicago, like Atlanta, like any other city, there are great opportunities. And I'm gonna tell you something else. It sounds strange. These are the absolute best times ever, because we have something that our parents never ever had. We have more access to information now than ever before in human history. If we can take that information in our collective cooperative economics, we can beat the game. And it is a game. Don't you think it's not a game? It's a whole game. We just losing it, but it's a whole game. And we can win this game, because one thing that we have that so many other don't have, and I think sometimes we shortchange ourselves with this, is we have staying power. We have that. It's in us. We have creativity. We have staying power. We have tenacity, hard work. All those things that keep the economy going. We have those things, because we help keep the economy going, right? So
right.
If we get those things and use it for ourselves, no stopping. There's no stopping, and that's why it's a deliberate attempt to keep us so distracted over nonsense. Something that doesn't make any sense at all, because if we use our whole mind, look at COVID. During COVID, if you remember, when they wanted to get your attention, they stopped everything. You couldn't go to a March Madness, you couldn't go to a football game, basketball game, everything stopped, because they needed your whole undivided attention. They needed you looking at TV so they could tell you stuff every single day. So now you got everything. They went. This time last month, Puff Daddy was all over. Now it's always going to be something, because keeping you distracted and not in your righteous mind is a way they can keep you from processing and getting together. I mean, if you be honest with yourself, how many people grew themselves personally during the pandemic? I know I did.
I'm proud to say I did as well. I got another professional license, so that home, I got that home and auto license during the COVID time. And the pivot on that, we're gonna sometimes be open, but everyone has their own path, right? And so even as I'm parenting children these days, I have one child that's graduated. She graduated from college. I have another child that right now he did 1 year, and he kind of got a job. He's working. But now we're talking about, hey man, we're gonna go get your life and health license. We're gonna get your Series 6, your series license. We're gonna get your home and auto license, because what I'm finding is that we're not even talking about, these jobs are not gonna be here anymore. We're talking about when they're training us to be workers, they're not gonna be any jobs for the workers to be at soon. Seriously,
not gonna be. And you know what? For the time and the cost of a license. Listen, first of all, I know many have been groomed to be like this. We live in a very comfortable place, America. I know we got our issues with America, but trust me, there are places around the world you don't even want to step foot in, because they coming over here, not because this is the most beautiful place ever in the world, because when I travel around the country, you get in Ubers and you meet people, right? People that lived in Sierra Leone, and people that live in some of the most beautiful places in the world. And you ask them, what you doing here? Opportunity is what they say. We are living in that land of opportunity. Nobody has a better, more robust economy than America. America is the gold standard of economies. If we get out of our comfortable space and learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you're going to have to. Nobody is going to thrive in this great system because a lot of competition. Nobody's going to thrive in it unless they are willing to work hard. So you work hard on your job already. You're already doing something. So what is getting a license? What is getting a license? I mean, come on, it ain't like getting a PhD. Right? So you ain't got to go through all of that stuff. And you have to do something that's going to be beneficial to other people in the economy, because too many people are money illiterate. They understand how to add, subtract, divide, and do percentages, but what they don't understand is how to leverage that knowledge to be able to do things that's going to grow their money. And then the number one thing most people are not doing is protecting their money. Well, AC, how you talking about protecting their money? I put it in the bank. No. If something happens to you, how do you protect? You are the money maker. So how are you protected? So to not understand the bedrock of it all, insurance, you get an insurance license just because you want to be smarter about finances.
Absolutely.
If you never use the license to begin with. So it's things like that. And that's why they don't teach and have classes in high school to make sure every high school graduate has an insurance license, because it would make sense to me. But they don't do it because there's just too much knowledge for the average working class person to have, whether you're white, black, or anybody else. They don't go there for a reason. And the whole thing is, that's what the value is. If something is endured and lasts that long, but you don't know nothing about it, but it's quiet, ain't nobody marketed it on TV, you won't see it blasted all over the place. Trust me, that's what the value is. And if you look at the economic totem pole in America in terms of where people have their money, trust me, it's protected by and large by insurance. Trust me on that. That's why this country almost went through a total collapse in 2008, because AIG was about to go into all these houses. About the insure these houses was about to go under. So it's the answer to many of our destinies have something to do with money. Whatever you want to, because you have to have money in this system to have some levels of freedom to do the things you actually want to do. You may not want to do what an insurance license brings you, but you may want to do some other things. But you're going to need money to gain your freedom to be able to do that. You're going to need money to make sure your children can be advanced and going to private schools and doing various other things. You're going to need money to make sure that you can live the lifestyle that you really want. How are you going to get there? It's not flying in the sky. It's going to take some work. But if you're thinking that you're going to work a traditional job to do that, that's not likely to happen, because you're working for somebody else. So what you have to risk doing, everybody has to risk doing. You have to be a part of what I call the talent age. And what is the talent age? Everybody has gifts and skills. So you have the ability to communicate. People that have, raw administrative skill talent. You do this for your job every day. People that have communication skills. People that know how to organize things and run projects and all those things. Well, then you need to find something to do where you can do something on your own with those skill sets, and then work together with other people so you can build something. Because this is the time for building, and it's based on your talent. It's based on what God gave you. Something we overlook all the time. It's based on what did God give you? Use that thing that God gave you and trust yourself. I was going to say trust God, but if you trust yourself, you trust in God, because now unto him who was able to do exceeding abundant above all you can ask or think, according to the power that works in you. So the God's already in you. So you trust yourself. God's there, right? And then go ahead and do it. Take a chance on doing it, because I can tell you right now, AI is going to take most of these jobs, period.
No, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
you said a mouthful there.
It is what it is. I mean, look at us. I know that I wasn't trying to be captivated by AI. I was not trying to be, but man, it helps me do things quicker, faster, more efficiently, and everything.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So if I'm a company and I got 5 employees over here, and I got one system that can pretty much do what all of them was doing.
Yep.
Sorry,
Everybody out.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm not gonna do this because the number one expense for any business is HR. So
Yeah.
I want to be profitable because that's the reason you go into business. So imagine.
Absolutely.
If I'm not trying to. It's a passion of mine to see people be all they can be, because I think the reason that you have so much alcoholism, so much drug addiction, so many mental dysfunctions, is because people are trying to fill up spaces inside of their soul that cannot be filled up by anything other than them fulfilling their purpose.
Sure.
I was talking to someone today, literally today, and they were saying a friend of theirs' boyfriend had recently been fired from a job he had been on for about 13 years or whatever, and he was just devastated. But she was like, he was making $20 an hour and working 60 hours a week, you know, and just imagine, being in this economy, making that dollar wage with everything else going up, and then you get fired from it, and you may not have the skill set or whatever to go and do anything else. So my thing, like you said, this talent age of improving ourselves is critical, and we're gonna have to improve, like you said, in the industries or in the things that are needed, healthcare, insurances, I have a plan to where, we have a local funeral home where I'm from. And, I don't think there's a lot of descendants, but I've talked to the ownership, and I was like, man, I'm going to come back home and help you run this funeral home business. That ain't going nowhere.
Never going out of business.
Oh my God.
Never going out of business.
What part of Atlanta do you live in?
I'm in Douglasville, but I'm from a small town called Dublin, Georgia, which is 2 hours away from Atlanta and 2 hours away from Savannah. So we're right in the middle between Atlanta and Savannah.
You're in Douglasville. So do you know Tristan Geiger?
That name doesn't ring a bell. No,
He's a musician from Chicago.
Okay, yeah.
Him and his wife and kids. Well, him and his wife live in Douglasville.
Yeah.
Douglasville is near Alpharetta or something like that.
No. It's on the west side. It's close to like you going to Birmingham. So I'm like like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes away from Birmingham, Alabama. So we're west. We're west of Atlanta.
Alpharetta.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Alpharetta is north. Alpharetta is north.
So is Douglasville closer to Atlanta than Alpharetta?
In my opinion, yes. I can get to, well, it depends. I can get to Atlanta in about 20, 25 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He does real estate there, and you know what? And look, he left here, musician, and I guess he does music there too. And they did real estate here. Went there, relocated, and been there a few years and doing real estate there. And see, this is one thing, everybody, that we have to break out of. I get it. It's different because working on your own, it's just a different mindset. But they were able to just move across states and do business. Because once you have something that you can carry yourself, which is all up in here, you can go anywhere and do that.
Absolutely.
You ain't nowhere.
So you mentioned us building community mindset, community business. Can you name 3 things that we can do as a community where we could come together as a collective and start building wealth in our areas? What are some 3 practical steps we could do?
Real estate is definitely one of them.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Without a doubt, for sure, real estate. Real estate is one of them. Investing overall is another one. Like investing in real estate, and then another one, investing overall. So, and I mean, just so let's say you identify somebody who understands the stock market very well, and then you get a group together, and then you learn how to trade together, and you can pool your money and trade because right now, if a lot of the stocks are down, like I know Amazon is down. So what if you put together a group and you collectively traded Amazon, which is like $231 a share, and you can get 1,000 shares of that somehow. And you get it as a group. You understand when that stock goes back up and it hits $400 and $500 a share, you understand how much money this group is going to have? It's going to have a lot of money. You can do a lot of things with that money. So like investing overall, And then don't forget gold and silver.
Mm.
I think people sleep on gold and silver. Only 7% of the country invest in gold and silver. Only 7% of a nation, and it's the only currency that is based constitutionally on the full faith and credit of the United States of America. The only thing, the money you hold in your hand is not the currency, y'all. It's not.
Right.
It's only a note, and it say it right there. It's a note. That's all it is. Promissory note. They ain't even got to honor it. One day they can shut all these banks down, and they look at you like this.
Right.
So that's two things. So you're investing in real estate, investing overall, and then the greatest of all things, people can come together to invest in each other. For instance, so you get 5 people in a room, 10 people in a room, all of them got different skills and talents, mindsets or whatever. Be willing to listen to each other and learn from each other. That would be the greatest investment Black folks can make today, because they can learn things, leverage each other's information. It's be in 6 degrees of separation. You probably know people that know somebody else that this person needs to know, that this person needs to know, and everybody can get everything they need to get done. They just get in a circle and agree to open up and listen to each other and work with each other. Everybody can win.
He's absolutely right, Dave. I mean, just to be honest with you, ever since we've started this, I have gotten so much personally from each and every conversation. So, I told you, I said, I don't care if it reaches one person or 1,000 or 10,000. I have personally learned and grown from these episodes, and I thank these men for allowing this knowledge to come forth and not to feel it robbery to keep it to ourselves. So, these have been great conversations. So, all of his points.
It's always win.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. And you know why I like that? Because men, and I know, I got 3 sisters. My mom, when she was living, was 4 of us in the house. And I know how the sisterhood rallies around each other. But the brothers don't generally do that.
No.
And so many men have so much to offer. But they're never asked to offer what it is that they have.
What they have, yeah.
It is necessary. Plus that, the sisters who are looking at this video right now and look at the videos in the past, the sisters want to hear from the men. They really do. They want to hear from the men. They want to. The voice of a man with authority that is confident, sure of himself, right, and has something to offer, is soothing to a woman, and they want to hear it. But if you give them a diet of none of that, then they'll learn to function without it. Because a woman has to learn to function without it. You know why? Because a woman is a mother, and a mother gotta take care of the business no matter what.
Absolutely.
They'll learn to function without it, but they really would rather have a man voice in the conversation.
Yeah. I was telling my oldest son, getting ready for this show. He says, "What's the podcast about? What are y'all talking about?" And I said, "Well, men stuff." And he said, "Oh, some of that bull." And I said, "No, it ain't that. It ain't that." And unfortunately, that's the rub when it comes to male podcasts. Kevin talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how everyone comes expecting that it's going to be, the usual misogynistic, male, women bashing type stuff. But we're really trying to educate people to be stronger in self, protect family, and build legacy.
Absolutely.
And we don't see a lot of that. We don't see a lot of that.
Yeah, that's what we are too, and that's what we are as people. And that's why I thank God for the time that I was born and raised, because I got a chance to see some very strong families, and very powerful men lead families, and
I saw it.
It takes you to see that, to be that. You know what I'm saying? You got to see it. And so those who have seen it, we have to offer that to others, because, to whom much is given, much is required. So it's required of us to let other people know what we have, what we saw. In Atlanta, do you belong to a specific church in Atlanta?
Yeah, I do. Elizabeth Baptist, Douglasville.
And
that's Craig Oliver. Yeah, Craig Oliver. Yeah.
Oh, that's what Craig Oliver. Okay. Oh, hold on now. He must have a church in Atlanta. In
He,
Atlanta too, right?
he is a we have locations in several areas. We actually opening up one in Smyrna. So EBC Atlanta is the main campus. I worship at EBC Douglasville. They have Smyrna, Conyers. So multi location ministry.
So there's a pastor there, Pastor Nesbitt. I can't. I think he's in College Park, Georgia.
I know him. I used to work with his wife.
Really?
Yep. Charles Nesbitt, Pastor Charles Nesbitt. Yeah.
So my brother is his musician.
Okay.
In Atlanta. My niece is in right outside of Alpharetta. You got you got her good friend Selena Johnson is singing from Chicago, as a matter of fact. She's she's there, and then that's my brother. Then my mother used to live some time ago. She used to live in Decatur. But Atlanta I say was now because I don't go as much as I used to, but it was my second city. That would be my place. Listen, going to Pasco's and I mean just hanging around and going to the vegan restaurants there. Yeah.
I'm a Clark Atlanta graduate, so yeah, man. Really? Atlanta's been home, and I do feel like there. Now, let me tell you this though, Atlanta is a state inside of Georgia.
Of course.
Okay.
I know.
So, do not get it twisted.
Trust me.
Atlanta is a state inside of Georgia because outside of Atlanta, we will let you know where you are and who you are.
Of course. And listen, I mean, there's so many aspects to Atlanta. So the university campus, the Atlanta University Center, the area around like Spelman, Morehouse, and all that. I mean, that whole area. My work study job years ago was at Ogilvy and Mather. It was an advertising agency in Atlanta. That was one of my not work study, but it was one of my temporary assignments. I moved there for 3 months, and when I right before my father passed here in Chicago, and I remember one of my not work study, what do you call it? Temporary assignments. I had temporary job there, and it was at Ogilvy and Mather ad agency. I learned a lot from that ad agency, although I was pretty much licking envelopes at that job. I always had to figure out a way to get to people that were decision makers so I could learn things. And that's one other thing that people need to do more of. Listen, if you got some spare time, and you do, and you want to learn some things, go identify the industry that you want to function in and volunteer at the highest level and learn from them. As good as gold, as good as real money. Trust me, because you can learn some things that really you will never know and other people will never tell you. But if you give your time and you sacrifice your time, I'm guaranteeing you're going to pull something out. I always wanted to be around people that were doing things, and I learned from them. And I didn't think that it was robbing me of anything because fair exchange is no robbery. I'm getting information. It's like money because the most valuable commodity you can have is information.
And just to piggyback on this, and we can move on, like I definitely want to give a shout out to the Atlanta University Center. It totally changed my life growing up from a predominantly white school system that educated me well. Absolutely. I felt like I got a quality education, but it was life changing to go to the Atlanta University Center when he talked about getting around others, right? And first of all, just navigating that college campus, but then as adults, these same people that we used to party with are true professionals in the industry that they are in, and they are leading industry. So my network of people that I have that are personal injury attorneys. My first cousin is a graduate of Morehouse. He is a doctor in Tuscaloosa. He married his college sweetheart. So I have true real life Huxtables in my family, right? they're two doctors. So I'm navigating my health issues, my family health issues. We go straight to him and her, and we get to ask them about what does this medication do? What do you think about this diagnosis? And it has been just a blessing to see that AUC culture permeate this great United States of America. And so when him talking about having that talent, but also being around others that you can glean from, that is truly what we need in times like this.
And that's happening all over the country. And you're right. Having an understanding about other cultures and how they function, even giving yourself to being educated, in other cultures, is great, and it's nothing wrong with it. But you gotta know that you gotta get with people, especially in the academic setting, if you can, for whatever period of time you can, that are moving up the ladder, especially in the college time or even in a master's degree time. You got to spend some time right around them, because those form the relationships that you will need and want to have for the rest of your life. So people wonder how other cultures do so well so long. Y'all, they matriculated together. That's how they did it. I mean, they're connected by the hip. They get it.
Most of your doctor's name is Patel, right?
Come on now. It's not difficult to understand that. But here's the thing that we may be missing. We are missing one thing. We're missing the fact that we can do it. We're missing it. What I mean by that, y'all, I'm telling you, I know this is cold. We can do it.
Absolutely.
We can do it.
Yep.
So sometimes we think that we need to. No, listen. It's a help. It's an aid. It's a benefit if you need to connect with some people that got something you ain't got. But what do we not have? You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to. That's another thing that getting together does. When you get together with people, you can always undergird each other in embellishing each other's skills by sharpening each other, so that you can know that you can do it, because we need to take the wheel. We need to take the wheel in our own area. We don't have to drive every ship. We need to drive our own ship, y'all. We need to drive our own, because we can. I mean, come on. We doing it already for somebody else. We can drive this ship on our own. And once our kids now need to see that. The younger people need to see that. They've seen everything else. But what they haven't seen in our time is us drive this ship. They see us sometimes begging other people to let us drive their ship. I'm telling you, y'all. It don't matter how big or small or medium size you think that ship is. We need to have our ship and drive our own ship. You know what I'm saying? Like we did back in the day. You know, was a time that we couldn't function with everybody else. And we was driving. I was looking at a documentary the other day. I can't think of you all seen the video with the man that was the first man that drank from the white fountain, the white seen that? So I'm looking at that, and it made me start to research things and all that. Man, I did not know that Black folks during the time of the Montgomery bus boycott, we had our home bus line. Did you know that?
Yeah. We
had all that. So we had all of that. We were functioning with all of that. We had our own thing, and I think that we may now be just getting over the appetite of thinking that we need somebody else's sugar to make our water sweeter.
Man, that's a deep one.
We really got it. We need to drive our own vehicle, no matter how big or small it is, and keep driving it and keep driving it and keep driving. I don't think it would offend nobody, and I know that it's going to help us and those coming behind us to really see, man, you know, we can have our own ship. Yeah, you can have your own ship, like other cultures have their own thing, their own hospital, their own neighborhood, their own, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, you know, listen, I can be pro-Black without being anti anything else.
Very true. Very true. Man, you preaching.
Yep, good deal.
I mean, you is the son of a preacher, so I wouldn't expect nothing less.
That's my daddy, and I came up around preachers, you know. So as a matter, Kevin got that preacher tone in his voice.
Hey man, I can line a hymn, all of that stuff, man.
Can you really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man. Yes, sir.
We all got that. You know, I pastored the church for like 15 years.
I know that.
So
Javid, I know that. And when I first heard that, I said, "Wow." That's something else, man. And so how many lifetimes do you think you've had?
Oh God, quite a few, quite a
Quite a
few.
few lifetimes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of
Between the
evolution.
ministry, the fitness thing, insurance. I've evolved quite a few times, constantly reinventing myself.
Constantly reinventing yourself. And you know, that's the whole thing right there. And people hearing your example of that, because sometimes now people get stuck, and it's all mental. They get stuck, you know, because first reason is because I know we need to respectfully challenge each other more.
Mm-hmm.
Especially those who don't have what you have. That's why you know too much is given, much is required. So there may be
Right.
some people that don't understand that that may not have that level of courage. Because I tell people that courage is not something that you're born with; it's something that you acquire over time. So you have to give
Mm-hmm.
people that energy of courage. And one of the greatest ways to do that is through your example, because people think, well, you know, this don't work out, my life is over. I mean, people really think something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh
that's
yeah.
why suicide is up. That's why depression is up. That's why anxiety is up. No, it's not over. It's like essentially, if you've given it everything you can, and you're learning things along the way, it's impossible to really fail. What's failure?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's all learning. You're gaining knowledge, and that gain. So let me ask you this, David. So that knowledge you gained from your other experiences, does it help you right now in what you're doing?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So that's
I
it.
can avoid pitfalls. I can
Oh my
avoid
God.
drama. I see things coming a mile away.
Mile
I
away.
tell people all the time, the church membership and the gym membership are almost the same type of people coming for the same reason. They wanted to get better. And all I had to do was learn how to manage their emotions. As a pastor, I didn't know how to manage their emotions, so it made it a lot harder. But as a gym owner, I knew how to manage their emotions because of my experience as a pastor.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely, you're right, man. Definitely.
And then you see patterns in people.
Mm-hmm.
When I served as a minister of music, and so when you're dealing in any of the creative arts, especially in the church, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
every one of God's children believe they can sing. So you gotta. It's a church now, and I
Mm-hmm.
never wanted to hold back a person's ability to express themselves. I just didn't want them to put themselves in a position to embarrass themselves in front of others. So what I would
Right.
do, I would come to rehearsal additional times to practice with the people that really want to sing a solo so I can get them ready. Oh, I'm ready now. I said, nah, we're going to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they didn't know is I was trying to not put them in a position where they would be hurt so that they would never want to express themselves, you know, anymore. And, you know, then in the church, you know, you understand you understand politics better than any place else because it's political. Not in the political sense, but just in the way that you have to deal and manage people, because you know it's different things, and but at the same time, you want to be building people up, and because that's what ministry is about, building them up. So finding ways for them to express themselves. So maybe you can't sing this solo, but I can show you how to sing alto better than you've been singing, and I can see if you have some other skill set. Maybe you can't hold a tune, and I know that, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Right.
I found out that you know you can write a lyric or two. And we're gonna work on that. You find a way, which is really teaching, which is the same thing I think that's really happening, not on the plus side in these schools. See, the first thing you got to do if you're going to be a teacher, like when I was a kid, and maybe you too, is you have to love kids. I don't mean you have to know how to teach kids. You got to love them, because if you don't love them, first of all, they're children. They can feel you don't love them, and who wants to learn from somebody that don't love them? And that's a lot of what's wrong with these children. And because they don't feel a connection from you. I can still remember my second grade teacher. I'm telling you right now, I can remember them. I can remember their energy and what they gave. I can remember the police officer sitting next to me in my classroom helping me color. And I went to the commander one time and I said, you know what? They asked me to come and speak for a CAPS meeting. And I got up there and I know they never invited me back. Because what I challenged the CAPS people to do, I said, why don't y'all bring back Officer Friendly?
Wow.
I said, that problem on the street with these kids, get them in kindergarten. And like when I was young and color with them next, they never going to forget that. I wanted to be a police officer for all of my childhood because of that. You know, it's just the love and the connection that is possible with people that can grow people, you know, is explosive, because you're not gonna always be able to be sweetness and light with people. At some point, you have to admonish people, but they have to know you love them before you admonish them.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, we need to go back to basics in so many ways.
Community. Well, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing community. I'm hearing, you know, when I used to see brick masons, barbers, ownership, all these things. And I know we have unique barriers to ownership these days, but one thing, like you said, we have such an ability to access knowledge before. We don't have to go to the library to look up, you know, those index cards and all that stuff, and you know, the all the research stuff we used to do. It's literally on our phone. You know, AI can teach you how to get an LLC. You can go sit for a professional license. You can talk to somebody who knows investing, to where, you know, just like Rick was talking on the earlier episode, you can put some money into those broad funds, okay? Or if you want to get aggressive, you want to do a little more. But like he said, just starting somewhere. But once again, that community and that talented tenth of these gentlemen that are sitting beside us, it's our responsibility more than ever right now to share knowledge. Come from these 6 bedroom houses that some of us have been blessed to be in, and we got to get back to the community, because the crime, you know, just imagine if we didn't have it, if we didn't have anything. So are we above not committing a crime to survive?
We're not above it.
No,
No, we're not. We're not above it.
And there have been times in my life, man, that I have considered, sat down and really thought about what can I do.
I'm telling you,
we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to reach back to this generation, because, man, we are losing. It is sad out here in these school systems. It is not, even though the teachers definitely need to love, it is not their responsibility.
It is not their responsibility to have a police children in the school every day. It's something that grieves you when you know teachers, and I know a lot of teachers. I'm telling you the stories I hear. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun. I mean, what they have to go through just to get a lesson out, just to get it's just not fun, and it's not right.
Socially promoting children who can't read. Okay. Socially promoting children just to get them out the system because they can't, you know, to test. I mean, we are setting ourselves up for, you know, you're talking about what we lost during the pandemic. Okay, with the children and things like that, it is progressive and progressive and progressive, and it's going to bleed down to generation if we don't
bleed down generation to generation. And like you just said, the social promotion, and to the credit of many of the teachers, they are not for it.
They're tired,
but they can't do anything about it, because it is a system that has been set up. I mean, we already know. Like us, if we were think about the things that you would bring to a school if you owned it right now and you wanted to help your community. Think about you wouldn't have to have a PhD in how to design a curriculum. You can design a curriculum right now based on what you know is going to benefit children right now. We could get together
and get the professionals to come, you know, and do it.
Right.
It's like first thing you're gonna do. The first thing I would do, I would have every school from kindergarten, every school would have a daily mock banking system. So in order to use the bank, you have to know all the tenets of money and banking and those things. It would have a everyday financial. It's almost like when we were a kid, when we were in school. I don't know if they still do it. Like we had to open up and had to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, every day, the first hour of school would be about money and how it worked. every single day, in different
Mhm.
aspects of it. The stock market this day, banking this day, whatever. And practical things like, you know, how to exchange money, how to do these things, how to function, how to understand these structures and all these.
Right.
Have you ever watched any videos on how the Chinese teach their children about America? Every day they learn about America, how to iron, how to wash dishes, how Americans do this, how Americans do that. Trust me, y'all, the Chinese are set and ready to clean our clock in terms of taking this thing over. Serious business. And if you go to China, like all of us could go to China now, and we can make $300,000-$400,000 tutoring their children right now.
Wow.
They'll pay you good money. Good money. Wow. Yes.
Our children don't even have soft skills. Right. You're talking about soft skills to interview, soft skills to prepare a resume, soft skills to, you know, even talk about networking. Or they don't even have soft skills.
So it's important. We need to start that. We need to start that. We need to encourage. And I got to go here. This is where I'm from, and I still know it's the most viable way to pull this off. We just got to convince pastors of it. We have to convince pastors to use their buildings for the things that the community needs, because it's the only direct route, you know, that we have. But they got to buy into it, because all the other things are all the other negatives we see. They're as a result of a lack of education. Think about it. If the school system is only graduating for the last 10, 15 years or so, they're only graduating knowing how to read and do math, 13%. That means it's 87% that are in society that have been passed through that don't know it. What happens to a child when they in themselves know they graduated, but they don't have what it takes? They are insecure, you all. And an insecure person is going to always be trying to validate themselves, no matter what. If they got to steal, get famous by stealing, by having 100 babies, whatever it means, they got to validate themselves. They got to feel right. They got to feel valued. They got to feel valid like anybody else. They got to feel that. So it's a disaster when 87%. So we're wondering, all these communities, what's going on? These kids don't know how to do themselves. That's because their parents were a part of that 87%.
Right.
And so we got a work to do. We got a work to do, and everybody got to pitch in and help with this work. We got to do this work, because the day we waiting on somebody else to swoop in and help Black folks, please. I'm 64 years old, and I really don't want to hear that conversation anymore.
Right.
We got to help each other. We got to do it.
Yes, sir.
No, you're 1,000% right, man. You're 1,000% right. So what I'm hearing out of this conversation, we talked about, you know, the black dollar going in and out of the community, but what I'm gaining out of this, I think, is going to be the segue to next week's topic about entrepreneurship and employment. And I think, Kevin, we probably would do ourselves a big favor if we just make next week about the community building process of bringing those in, like AC just mentioned, to help train and teach so we can all learn from one another. So say, for example, you know, we got to reach back out and get that financial literacy person, that serial entrepreneur, that fitness expert, you know, leadership development people. Even if we haven't had any pastors on here, we haven't had a minister on here yet. So we need to, next week, that's what we should do. We should bring all those types together.
Yeah,
have
I would love
a non-ego based conversation where we all learn from each other.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be great. I mean, honestly, I'm very thankful. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually going to be speaking at a church in October next month and talking about financial literacy. So I thought that was a great thing for the pastor or the committee to think about and do, especially in times like this. So I think the writing is on the wall, and those of us who are trying to somehow look around the corner or look a little forward, we see it. And so it is past time for us to have these conversations. It is past time for us to build a true sense of community. It is past time for us to stop gatekeeping and feeling like we've made it and that's all that matters. It doesn't. We have the mandate to help our fellow man. And it's not welfare. It's not welfare. It's what you're supposed to do. It's just what you're
supposed to do. And understand, ain't no sense of us, getting mad at any other culture. Don't get mad. They only doing what they should be doing, looking out for themselves. Right. I'm upset because we're not doing it ourselves. We need to be looking out for ourselves. I ain't mad at them. I learn from everybody and everything. It's nothing I let slip by me. But I do understand clearly that, and we should understand, that there's no way that you can, slip out from under how you got here. I can't get away from my mother and father. Man, I thought the last thing I would be doing is saying anything like what my father said or anything like what my mother said. I hated them telling me. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm saying the same thing they said, almost just like they said.
Verbatim.
So you can't get out from under it no matter what you're talking about anyway. So the whole thing is we do have a mandate, the word you use, to really help each other. Learn from everybody, though. Learn from everybody, because there are some things that other cultures can teach you that you know, and then you bring it back to your people. That's how you do it. You're supposed to ultimately bring it back. If you don't bring it back, if you go and get all you can all you get, and then sit on the can, that's the problem. Is you. You the problem. Because you're not sharing with anybody. You're not even interested in sharing with anybody. And how can anybody? And you know how you know that happened? Because look at our community. It happened. It's a lot of people that didn't share. A lot of people. That's why people don't know. I could have been a whole lot further ahead and that's why at the radio station you hear the guy T.Y. hold the radio with me, because he's a younger guy. He worked for the radio station, but I want to make sure. He told me he went to Columbia, and I want to make sure that whatever I can assist him to do. So I have him talk with me on the air, because one day he's gonna be on the air. And anything we can do to help build other people up, we have to do that. But I agree with you. We need to get with the people around us. Definitely get with pastors. Definitely get them, to be sensitized to the fact, because I'm gonna tell you something. If their people in the next 365 days don't learn how money works, he won't be a pastor, because there won't be no church building, because church builders got to pay the mortgage.
Right.
Now you can hear what I just said. Just like I said, the money getting ready to get that scarce.
Yeah. Good deal, man. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right, you all. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Okay.
Well, listen, thank you, AC, for coming on. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, your expertise, and your knowledge. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We've had a great show. It's been a lot of knowledge given out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and close this out, but let you guys know next week we'll be back for episode 6. And we're going to be talking about some roundtable discussion, things about building community. So, Kevin, you want to say something to the people before we go?
Hey, man, just have a good rest of the week on purpose, man. Be intentional with your words. Be intentional with your actions. With all this division, with all this hate, man, show up as love. And as my mother would say, love is an action word.
It's an action word. I like your mother. I don't even know it, because I say that too. Yeah,
I love it.
It's a verb, man. It's a verb. It's
awesome.
a verb. It is not hard.
Thank you, brothers. We are really appreciative to you guys. And this has been Javid and Kevin coming at you from Protect the Bag. We'll see you guys next week. God bless and be safe.
All right,
everybody.